This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Man.
Welcome back to the show.
Take care, Polly Wally.
Why don't you put your pants back on, Slappy?
Stop him! Stop him! Stop him!
Hell yes!
Little hoop action.
Play around with a bad football team, bad things happen.
Hashtag Faith Radio.
Yes! Yes!
Hold on to your butts.
Thank you.
Copyright Dan Barrero. Shake what?
We're happy for you.
9 to noon.
You're listening to my dad and Uncle Paul on the Fan.
Hope the weekend was terrific for everybody.
Thanks for listening to my dad on the radio so we don't have to at home.
3 hours before 9 to noon's a wrap on the show. Here's the weekend wrap to start the show, courtesy of your audio leader for Minnesota sports, FM 100.3 KFAN. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
KFAN is my favorite station.
Likewise, I'm Paul Allen. He is I and I is he, slim with the tilted brim, and here we go. The Final Four is set, and these guys keep beating everybody by 20.
Back to Flagg. Shot clock down to 10. And Flagg lost his footing, but dribbled his way right back up again. Spinning out of the lane. Shot up and good. Cooper Flagg sends Duke to the 11-0 run.
Duke hooks Houston, and Auburn and Janai Broome get Florida. All the top seeds are in the Final Four, and truly, these are the best 4 teams in the country. At least that's according to elite college basketball minds who watch all the games. For yours truly, who watches most of the NCAA tournament, these are the best 4 teams in the country, and the Final Four is next week. Now, a 9 to noon discussion topic point, potentially, for the Talkbacks, maybe tomorrow on Talkback Tuesday. When we present that, it could include college basketball and Major League Baseball eerily becoming similar.
Oh my gosh.
The haves and the have-nots?
We got class envy potentially becoming a problem. Might unpack that tomorrow because many are frustrated with the favorites-based nature of this year's NCAA tournament.
Well, it's crazy, those top 4 teams that are all in the Final Four, PA. If you look at, I saw something yesterday on X, and so paraphrasing that the top 10 all-time KenPom ratings, all 4 of these teams are in that top 10 historically. So the disparity between the teams that'll be playing this next weekend for all the Tostitos and everybody else is a Grand Canyon-esque gap, PA.
Oh! The frustration I heard is that with this year's NCAA tournament, the significant concern is Cinderella may have gone the way of Tinkerbell or Snow White, given Duke and Auburn make teams look like they're using 7 dwarves. Elite basketball mind Parker Fox stops by the studio today at 11 o'clock to analyze. Now,
Wild.
Bad loss by the Wild at home Saturday to the New Jersey Devils.
Heischer finds it for the Devils. Rumbles ahead. Heischer cutting left circle a shot.
Oh, no.
And he scores. It may have hit Spurgeon, then the goalpost, and Nico Heischer off the rush makes it 3-1 New Jersey.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Nico Heischer. Who he? Who knew? Devils were on a back-to-back after getting shut out at Winnipeg, and those teams win day after the peg quite infrequently. You play at the peg, you travel, you play the next day, you generally lose. I mean,
Back to Pratt, tapped along Lucusa, shot tipped off a man, found the glass, and then they score. It's the hat trick for Heischer, banking it off Gustafson.
Great.
Another hat trick by a visiting team in this building in the last couple of weeks. And the Devils have a 4-2 lead.
teams never, ever, ever, ever leave the peg, play the next day, and win. The Devils did, though. So here's also what was so super sad with the way things developed Saturday at XL Energy Center. Our guy Gorgie displayed a fantastic new bluish suit for his TV work.
I always love that one.
The Wild let down the new threads.
I always love that one.
And the Blues went into Colorado and beat the Avalanche the same day. Break up the Blues. The Blues, they've won 9 in a row and shut up some naysayers Saturday. Kind of good for the Blues here. Obviously tired of facing the slings and arrows of the outrageous negatives. The team, the hockey world proclaimed, is beating nothing but the dregs of the NHL, went into the Mile Get High City, and put a pesky 2-1 on Rochi's high-flying abs. This foe is quite formidable and seems dead set on postseason inclusion.
Oh, my gosh.
We have 7 to play, the Blues 6. They are plus 17 in goals differential. We are minus 9.
L.
Tough Saturday for the boys, no doubt. Wild get the Devils tonight on KFAN. Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek are practicing in full, but the team is non-committal whether they will play tonight or at any time on the 3-game roadie, which includes games at the Rangers and the New York Islanders. McTockett joins in studio about 10:15. All hail the Howl. All hail the Howl. Now, the rough and tumble Detroit Pistons were here yesterday, and they brought some Motor City Mean with them. And after lazily strolling through a quarter and a half and losing by double digits in a very important game, the Howl decided it was time to win the battle and the war. First, the battle, which was a fracas with a side dish of Donnybrook, and coaches nearly getting into it. Here's Alan Horton's call of that fiasco.
This one's gotten testy. It's got physical. Here's Holland to drive. Baseline, runs it up over Nas and hits it. He comes up swinging his arms, wondering where the foul was. 39-29. Pistons back up by 10. Nas fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, drives. He got fouled. Holland picks it up. And now Nas and Holland going at it. Dante steps in, and now both teams have to be separated here. Dante takes Holland right out of play. Hey. It's a pile-up under the basket. It's gotten more than heated, and they are still going at it. The whistle continues to blow. There are bodies piled up into the first few rows of the seats as tempers have flared here early in the second quarter. They are still going at it along the baseline there.
Alan Hort voxing in second to none fashion. J.B. Bickerstaff, Pablo Prigioni, something called Ronald Holland, instigator and agitator Isaiah Stewart, Naz Reid, and Dante DiVincenzo all ejected. The Wolves won the fight because there was one punch thrown, and it was DiVincenzo clipping Mackie Sasser with a jab. Our beloved Hal would go on to blow out the Pistons and win that war. And the Pistons, by the way, were without their best player, Cade Cunningham.
Asar Thompson to Beasley. Catch and shoot left side three and short. Wolves have the rebound. Down by 1. They've trailed by as many as 16. And open left side. Lets it fly. It hits. The Wolves have come all the way back.
Hey.
They lead at 69-67. Ant knocks down his second 3 of the night. It's a 28-12 Wolves run going back to the second quarter.
All hail the Howl! Julius Randle, Mike Conley, and Rudy Gobert triggered the comeback. Then Anthony Edwards decided to break. He jettisoned the cast, decided to break a sweat, and entered unstoppable mode, and it was quite fun to watch. Stifle Tower had 25 rebounds. 25 rebounds for Rudy Gobert. Mike Conley played like he was 25. 9 to Noon loves Mike Conley. It's an old school thing. The LA Clippers lost to Cleveland, so as the play-in clip goes, the Wolves and Warriors jump the clip joint, and Minnesota's 1/2 game from the 6th seed, and currently would be hosting a play-in game versus James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and the LA Clippers. Golden State killed San Antonio and is a half game clear of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Our beloved Hal have 7 remaining. The Dubs have 8. It's nervous time in the All Hail the Hal Covenant. And they play at Denver tomorrow night. And Coach Chris Finch should be joining 9 to Noon tomorrow to start the show with Fincho. Start the show with Fincho. Now, coming up a little later with Parker Fox, we will get more into the Timberwolves and their lot in life. And finally, as the jazzy, controversial weekend wrap puts a wrap on the start of the show, the Minnesota Twins. This thing ain't starting great.
The one-strike pitch for Nootbaar. He swings and drives it into center for a hit. The Cardinals score Burleson. The Cardinals score Herrera. The throw goes to the middle infield and back in safely at second, Jordan Walker. Nootbaar with another big day.
They're not booing.
No.
They were nuding. No. They were nuding for Lars Nootbaar. But we're happy for you. We haven't won a game to start the season, and we're swept by the Redbirds. Not the Red Sox, the Redbirds. That's super special. In advance of 9 to Noon doing its first Vox in the batter's box from the field at Target Field on Thursday. Now, the Twinigmatics were outscored 19-6. All right? We had 96 at-bats over 3 games and hit just 2 home runs. Why is that important? That's important because of the last 5 World Series winners. All 5 have finished the season top 5 in home runs.
Oh my gosh.
Do we bomba anymore? I mean, after you get your first, can you be like, time for 2 more? It's time for 2 more home runs. Time for 2 more? Do we bomba anymore? When does Royce Lewis return? Is Brooks Lee as good as Brooks Robinson? Cool. We allegedly have one of the game's best bullpens, especially when one never leads with said pen to hold said lead.
I always love that one.
That's super cool. Now, the White Sox host the Twins starting tonight, and despite a paltry 53.5 season wins total and being considered as potentially one of the worst teams in the last 50 years of Major League Baseball, have started 1-2 and scored 2 runs in their last 2 games. This isn't a baseball game. It's a war of attrition. They do have a victory, though, so compared to the Twins, there's that. Twins and Southsiders this evening. Start looking for the TV channel now.
You got to feel good about lining up your first Vox in the batter's box.
Can't wait.
With 3 games against the White Sox leading up to it, though.
Oh, can't wait.
Team's got to do their job.
Right.
Okay, I think it's Wallner, Correa, and Buxton. They're like 2 for 34 to start the season, your top 3 guys.
Ooh.
But it's the White Sox. If that's going to hold true, by Thursday, you should be talking about a 3-3 team. They're hot. And you wouldn't believe the 5, 6, 7, 8 home runs that the Minnesota Twins hit over that 3-game stretch. I think Vox in the batter's box is going to be looking for 4 in a row for Rocco.
4 in a row for Rocco.
4 in a row for Rocco.
The Anaheimers headed into the season, and everybody in the clubhouse reportedly was saying, we good. They're the White Sox. And then they lost their season opener 8-1.
Here we go, Paul!
Courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to Noon today has some luminaries.
Yeah.
Ooh. Minnesota Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah joins the radio show at 9:40 from the owners' meetings in Florida. North Dakota State University football coach Tim Polasek around 10 o'clock on his championship squad and draft-worthy offensive lineman Gray Zabel. And next, we re-engage with National Football League Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. That's the weekend wrap, and we welcome you to the 9 to Noon Love Covenant at FM 100.3 KFAN.
If you want to set the hook, May 28th through the 30th, I'm going to be hosting a walleye fishing trip up at ballardsresort.com. And whether it's 2 days lodging, it's 2 days guided walleye fishing, you're going to get meals as part of the bit, the whole thing. And we're hunting walleye. So join us up there. Spots available. You can go to ballardsresort.com to learn more. It is $575 per person. But thank you, Ballards, for having me up there. Excited about it. It's May 28th through the 30th. Let's catch some fish together. ballardsresort.com. And then, of course, if I can do my best, Abbott, set the hook. Love Ballards Resort.
That was a good one. Yeah, I got a friend from afar listening to 9 to Noon, obviously looking at Twitter, and recognize that yours truly, in hurried fashion, misspelled the last name of Polasek, coach of the North Dakota State University Bison. So, yeah, we'll fix that on the X machine right now, out of respect, as we wait the arrival of Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
Is there a Gray Zabel question in the? I can't read them, but I can see the notes in front of you.
Yeah.
As you would say, they are voluminous. Is there a Gray Zabel question for the head coach and or the GM? Or do we wait until Mr. Polasek joins so we can actually get the full details of last Thursday's pro day? A kid that, not that he was completely off the radar, but remember when he was the belle of the Senior Bowl ball?
Yeah.
And through the combine, he kicked butt again. And to now through the pro day, Zabel has done nothing but climb the charts over the last 45 to 60 days.
Great question.
Football feast.
O'Connell goes, thanks for helping, owners meetings, Rogers.
What is this, a press conference?
Why? Because he wasn't at the press conference.
Oh, my God.
Then Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, we changed it up a little bit with him. It goes Rogers, Isaiah Rogers, and having a third quarterback here during organized team activities. Actually, Aaron's not going to make. Isaiah makes the mix more than Aaron during the next two conversations, and hopefully people enjoy that, because there are some with the Minnesota Vikings covenant who have high hopes for one Isaiah Rogers. Now, I pondered putting this in the Tolstoy for Kevin O'Connell or Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, but I held back on it because I couldn't figure out how to get to the finish line. But I got a friend of mine named Antoine who lives in Southern California in El Segundo. Whenever the Vikings play the Rams or the Chargers out there, we get together. He's a dear friend of mine. And unlike yours truly, who hasn't felt his ribs in 30 years, Antoine works out about 4 days a week.
I always love that one.
Is he on Muscle Beach? Is he on Long Beach, Venice Beach?
He's on Seal Beach, and it's adjacent to a workout place where he works out at the same place Mekhi Blackmon works out with Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young. Now, Antoine's a big-time Minnesota Vikings fan. All right, so I think he's gone up and chatted with Mekhi a little bit. Mekhi's there quite frequently. And the feeling that I get from Antoine, and see, this is where I couldn't figure out how to get it into the mix, because I'm not sure how much the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings and or general manager have chatted with Mekhi Blackmon. I would imagine they've chatted with him for sure about organized team activities and rehab and recovery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mekhi makes the mix with the general manager if we have time. But my beloved Antoine, my brother, he shares with me, without getting into like pointed details, how he senses Mekhi Blackmon, cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings, ACL, missed last year. He senses into what would be Mekhi's third year, how having a year of his chosen profession robbed from him via injury has been quite eye-opening for the young man. In other words, like, be careful what you wish for, because when you actually get it, then you love it, then it's taken away. You miss it more than you ever thought you would miss anything. So a diligent Mekhi Blackman on the workout scene in Southern California, and a 9 to noon reporter named Antoine in a roundabout way filed that report. Kevin O'Connell into Kwesi Adofo-Mensah into North Dakota State University head coach Tim Polasek. And then after that, we got some hockey with Mick Tocchet, including some commentary on that very controversial loss for the Golden Gophers hockey squad on Thursday. For Mick Tocchet is on the mural at Mariucci, thus making him hockey immortality. And Mick Tocchet was on the call, and maybe you heard it on Friday, but it was a very frustrating call when people go to tripping over a tripping that was not called. Plus, some stuff on the Wild with Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek with the team on the road trip, practicing in full practice, but no confirmation coming from the insiders or from the football team itself that the aforementioned 97 and or 14 will be playing this evening at about 6 o'clock on KFAN, or really anytime during the course of this road trip that is coming up. They got 4 games this week. 3 are on the road. 1 is at home. And they begin with New Jersey. Then they head to the red, white, and blue of Madison Square Garden immortality.
Yeah, the final stretch, man. Just 6 points. The Blues never lose. I mean, this is absolutely grind of grinds to the finish line here.
Don't snooze on the Blues because they never lose. The owners' meetings are a clip. All right, you got, I mean, I wish 9 to noon was there doing a radio show, quite honestly, because it's antithetical to the combine in that you don't have agents, running around, no fights in the Starbucks line between media members who are arguing who had what first and why, and the veracity thereof, or the veracity that some think is lacking. But it's Palm Beach, Florida. It's Palm Beach, Florida. And you'll see pictures on the social media machines with reporters from all over the country sitting at these tables. And then, you'll get it's the Lions, I'm Doogie, at a table that is occupied by Ben Johnson, coach of the Chicago Bears. And then you look over there and you got beat reporter C sitting at a jam-packed table listening to John Harbaugh talk about his new deal. But meanwhile, one of our very favorites is there, and he's nice enough to join us now. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Good morning. Thank you for helping. How are you?
I'm doing great, PA. How are you doing?
All right, buddy. Happy Monday. Owners meetings week, Palm Beach, Florida. Is it wise, Kevin, for those who work, let's say, long, odd hours to somehow turn this week into a family spring break, or like a trip while handling business with the kids and a wife and stuff?
Oh yeah, we got the whole crew down here. Beautiful, beautiful little place to be. This is actually brings back great memories for me because I know you probably remember this. This was the location of the 2022 league meetings. My first time coming here, and I can tell you it's now my 4th time coming to one of these things. So we kind of know the lay of the land. We're still very much petrified of our kids running free through the halls here and upsetting all the powers that be. But it's worth it, PA, to get this time together. In addition to some really important meetings that we get to have with a lot of the leadership of the National Football League to continue to take our league where we want to go. So it's an important time, a great time for a lot of us to spend time together with ownership and the great folks in our organization. But at the same time, make no mistake about it, there's some pool and beach time for the O'Connell family that's much needed.
And given young Caden and the rest of the stable are being raised by Avail Academy, you probably don't have to worry about this. But like young Caden running down the hallway, running into Dan Campbell saying, "Mr. Campbell, can we talk about those games we played last year?" I mean, you don't have to worry about that, right?
Well, I just worry. I just worry that he wouldn't say Mr. Campbell. It would be, he would, still his anger over how some of that went down. Maybe that's the true tester, PA, the competitor in him, because he's just like me. I think I've shared this with you before. I think that's one of the hardest parts about when the result doesn't go our way. Is whether it's Caden or Colton, these guys they wear it as hard as I do. Driving home from the game if we don't get one of those 14 wins to go our way. The O'Connell family, Vikings fans can trust. We are all in. We love being a part of the Twin Cities and our great sports community, and we feel like we're just starting in our attempt to make a positive impact, not only on the Vikings organization, but just the community as a whole, and we're very much looking forward to doing that.
Hey, Kevin, kind of off that, like at owners' meetings, where it's more chill maybe than the combine, do you ever sit down with fellow coaches and talk about a game you guys played like last season?
Yeah, we absolutely do that. Whether I've already done it with a few guys, and actually later today, I was fortunate enough to be invited a few years ago. There's a little bit of a non-scheduled coaches kind of group that gets together for maybe an adult beverage or two, and just sits around a table and we just talk about football games, the dynamics of players and the teams, and it can be scheme, it can be, something that you're talking coverages, and a coach may be asking you, hey, KO, how'd you guys attack this? Or what were you guys trying to do on that play? And we're all cursed with these memories of, being able to vividly just shut our eyes and see, a clip on tape or a play we were a part of. So some of the most fun times I have all year, at least football-wise, is getting to have those dynamic conversations. And I was fortunate enough, really, at this very hotel, 4 owners meetings ago, league meetings ago, that Mike Tomlin invited me to go to that round table. As I was just hoping Mike Tomlin knew who I was at that point, and he invited me, and I got a chance to sit with him, and now we've been doing it every year since. He's a mentor of mine, and I care about him greatly. But make no mistake, I'm sure he's going to be trying to get any intel on how we attack cover 3, or what man beaters we have, because we do play the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. So I got to be careful with what I share today.
Oh, that's fantastic. Kevin O'Connell, coach of the Minnesota Vikings, for a few more minutes. Let's chat about Rodgers, as in new corner Isaiah Rodgers. What led you guys to snagging him day one of the process?
Yeah, that was an exciting one, PA, for us, because Brian Flores and I, just to give fans and your listeners a little background, what we like to do is our role in assisting Kwesi and the personnel staff is Flo and I get together and we spend a long time really evaluating potential fits, how things would look if we're able to land an Andrew Van Ginkel and a Blake Cashman, and what that would look like with Jonathan Grenard on the other side. And that's kind of how the 2024 offseason went, and it was a really successful one. So we did a lot of the same process again this year, and before we got to that dialogue with Kwesi and his staff, Flo and I had really identified a few players that we thought, in addition to bringing Byron Murphy back and getting Harrison Smith back for his 14th season, and some others, we thought it was going to be a great option to bring Isaiah Rodgers here. Dynamic speed, a guy that we wanted to get, in addition to bolstering kind of the interior O and D lines, we wanted to get a little bit more speed at that second corner spot, with also bringing Murph back, and kind of what that would look like was a guy that we're really betting on the upside of. And Flo has been remarkable with his ability to kind of see not only a player plan for a potential guy we go get in free agency, but to see the potential upside that player can be in our systems. And sorry, a lot of folks walking around here, but yeah, and I just thought Flo, has done such a great job with that, and Isaiah was one of those players that Flo identified with me very, very early on, and to know that we were able to get him and Kwesi going out and his staff and Rob Brzezinski getting that thing done provides us with a real nucleus in that cornerback room. And then we were also able to get Jeff Okudah, a big physical boundary type corner that when you look at how we kind of transformed that group while also bringing Murph back, that's really exciting stuff.
Hey, Kevin, with the kickoff, the proposed kickoff changes and stuff on which the owners will be voting. How about this? Kickoff, touchbacks go to the 35, move the kicker back to the 30. That sounds like a good plan, right?
I think I know this, PA. There's been a combination of just different variations of what you just said, talked about. And what's the right thing? Is still to be determined. We'll have some meetings today and then, we'll take this all to a vote tomorrow. Inevitably we're going to come out of this with something. I know there was some positive feelings towards the dynamic kickoff of the original intent, which was, to bring the play back into the game, at least from an action play standpoint of some returns. And those plays were enhanced and those numbers looked like about what the league projected. But at the same time, it was a healthy play, and that was really important for player health and safety. So we're looking to, take the next step. It was a 1-year thing, and we've got to solidify what that's going to look like here moving forward. And whether that is, touchbacks going to the 35 and people really having to make the field position decision of, do we want to put this ball in play? Do we want to bang it through the end zone and let them have the 35-yard line? I just know it led to more points. It led to more, exciting plays, more plays in that kind of go zone of fourth down territory, plus 50, whatever it is. And then the opportunity, these kickers are so talented. Do we want to move that ball back to the 30 and not give them, the ability to blast it through the end zone as easy? All of which is being talked about. Some combination of that, PA, is going to be something that I think we come out of this with, and it's going to continue to be a critical part of football games for sure.
All right, 2 minutes and 2 more for Kevin O'Connell. How excited do you think J.J. McCarthy is to get to organize team activities?
He's so excited. I've told him because part of his rehab. He's been in our building pretty much 5 days a week since the season ended. He's doing a great job, but I've told him you can't treat day one of the off-season program, phase one, day one, as, this earth-shattering, big monumentous day, because all we get to do that day because of the rules is, some quick meetings and a lift and a run, which is not going to be all that much different than what he does right now. But I think he's excited. He's just excited to get back on the grass with his teammates, and he's put in a lot of work and with great care from our athletic training staff and our doctors. JJ's been doing a great job, and he's ready to hit the ground running. So I'm proud of him, proud of the work he's put in, and our daily process together, which I'm very much looking forward to, begins very, very soon.
Last one, my brother, 45 seconds for NFL Network. I've seen Justin at a bunch of Timberwolves games. Is this the first off season he's spending this much time here?
I think, I think he just loves the Twin Cities. He loves being around our fans, supporting, obviously the T-Wolves and everything else from the standpoint of the Lynx. I know he attends some of those games. Justin loves Minnesota, and it's awesome to see how much, not only that I know our fans care and have love for Justin, but it's right back to him from him, and how much Minnesota means to him. So it's really cool. It's really cool to see. Justin knows, he's been voted a captain now 2 times, and it means a lot to him to be a leader in our organization, and I'm looking forward to him having a great offseason as well.
You're the best. Enjoy the week with your family, and I'll see you when you get back, okay?
Thanks, PA. Appreciate you, man.
See you, man. Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and after this short pause, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the team's GM on KFAN. Well, that was Distraction Central. See, when I say the owners' meetings are a clipping penalty, and I've never been, but I know enough about them to know when it's this time, of the morning and or into the owners' meetings.
Yeah.
Every coach is like at a table. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it can't be one by one, because then now you got 32 times time for 10 minutes. So they have to be multiple tables with multiple coaches for multiple reasons.
And they each will generally have their local scrums too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rat race, man.
Yeah. And Kevin, we've had enough conversations with Kevin O'Connell, and I've had some where he's been distracted. But I just envision there, he's talking about Isaiah Rodgers or taking the super special kickoff and taking touchbacks and moving the ball to the 35 after you have moved all these bionic leg kickers back to the 30-yard line. He started answering it, and then he went staccato a little bit, kind of lost his train of thought, which generally doesn't happen with Kevin O'Connell. I just envision Brandon Staley walking by, fist bump. There's Sean McVay. There's somebody who sneaked in representing Joe Flacco being after this NFL Network interview, can we chat for a little bit, man? I know I'm not supposed to be here, but organized team activities are around the corner.
Maybe a LaFleur stare down, or Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Head coach. He's got the Bears hat on, walking by. He's got a little shimmy in his step.
Yeah.
Feeling good about himself.
The owners' meetings, Alex down there, Gessling's there. So part of the 9 to noon stable is there. And we fully expect our constituents to file reports at sometime during the course of this week. But, we lost time in the O'Connell interview for multiple reasons. So some of the questions I couldn't get to included the tush push. And I haven't read up on this. And it's starting to pop up all over the place on NFL sites and ProFootballTalk.com. The most recent is Andy Reid. If tush push is putting players in a bad position, you probably have to do something. All right. I don't understand, what's the problem with the tush push?
Yeah.
If you're a team that plays the Eagles frequently and you can't stop it, well, it's A, draft players, find players, or learn how to stop it, or is there something in the ingredients to the tush push
right
that yours truly is missing? Because reading elimination of tush push stories, quite honestly, is boring.
It is.
Is there something that I'm missing here?
I don't think you are. The physical nature of probably as soon as the ball is snapped, the O-line's going low, right? So it's a battle for low ground.
Yeah.
And there's probably potential for injury there. Now, with that said, to ban a play that only one team apparently is really good at.
Mm-hmm.
So as it stands now, anybody...
Well, the Bills are really good at it, but they do it a different way.
Everybody in the NFL can do what the Eagles are doing. The only difference is the Eagles appear to have a monopoly maybe on just Mekhi Becton-sized O-linemen, but there's something about that play and that group that just works.
Right.
So if you were to ban, maybe it's is there a certain aspect of the lineup that philosophically that you could look at and force it to adjust? But I have a problem with the idea of banning a play when only one team apparently has it figured out and they do not appear to be doing anything illegal. So it's like you said, man, it's super boring. Figure out how to stop it or figure out how to do it at a high level. If every offense in the NFL could do the tush push and the defense were just helpless to stop it at any given time, then you would start to figure out, okay, why is this slanted so far towards the offense that every offense in the NFL, this is a gimme 2 yards, 4th and shorts just don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And then you could talk about, well, here's how the linemen are lining up. Or they got both arms on the ground. You're starting to dig into the super technical bits.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that. But again, there's only one team. And you mentioned the Bills. And in fairness, I'm sure other teams have probably done it to some success at some point. Nobody does it like the Eagles. It's the Eagles' bit, and they're really good. I don't think you can just ban it because one team's better at it than everybody else.
I was looking for the Brandon Powell tush push around Christmas from a couple of years ago, and while I found some highlights from the Vikings and Cincinnati Bengals, The most prominent one is this one.
Darius Wright to the right.
Darius Wright.
Diggs to the left. Teddy takes the snap. Looking for
2015, you say?
Up, runs inside the 10 to the 5. Flag on the play. Touchdown, Teddy!
Joining us now is Minnesota Vikings General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Kwesi, it's Paul Allen. Thank you for the time. And how are your little boys?
PA, thanks for asking, man. They're good. I did my morning FaceTime with them. Oldest was eating some yogurt. Youngest was chilling like he always is with mama. But it's tough being away from him at this age. But obviously Dad's got to take care of a little business. But thanks for asking.
Yeah, for sure. And not to get too deeply rooted in your personal business here, Kwesi, but I mean, like the owners' meetings can be kind of a can kind of be like get the family together and bring them to Florida. And like get a free spring break or something like that out of it, right?
Yeah, it might be. Nobody ever gave me that memo, to be honest. This time of year, your mind is really focused on the draft. And, as a GM, you spend a lot of your time leading and managing so that these downtimes for other people are really when I get to catch up on my work and sit in the room with clear thoughts and think about the direction of the team and different things. And I love doing that. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the job. So, obviously there's a little dynamic where with your family, if you're in a sunny place, you can't, spend all the time in the room, but it really is a great time to get away and get some work done.
With your sons, as young as they are, do you have ankle weights on them yet?
You know what? I don't, I'm not going to be that dad. My parents, were unbelievably focused on academics. There's a funny story about, I used to sleep with a basketball because I heard that, one of my favorite players did that. And my mom came in the middle of the night and, she might have stuck a knife in the basketball to send a message, that wasn't going to be, what her son was going to, do later in life. But no, we have a great mindset. My wife was an incredible athlete as well, but as a parent, you just want your kids to find joy in something, anything, and we'll support them in whatever that is. The oldest does love basketball so far. I will say he wakes up every morning wanting to play ball with Dad. So that's cool. Obviously I'm going to be hitting up Timberwolves games with him. He's got a Garnett jersey that he can't take off. So that's been an exciting thing to see.
Kwesi, what's the adrenaline rush like when you want players? All right, free agency. You want players. The coaches and owners are on board and bam, bam, you close on it. What's that like?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
All right, 3-2. What's the adrenaline rush like when in free agency, you want players, the coaches and owners are on board, and boom, you close on it? What's that like?
Man, it's a great feeling. Love it when a plan comes together. Like, what's the guy on the A team? But it's a result of great process, great people putting in their effort. And just seeing the fruits of that labor, the smiles on people's faces when all that work, all that hard work, all that character work, all that film evaluation work, all that work from our financial team, just our trainers, all of it comes together in terms of the player filled out on our depth chart. It's an awesome thing. And we'll continue to do that because we collaborate. I feel better about the decisions that everybody is behind. I think, if you look back historically, our best moves are those moves, and we'll continue to seek those out in the way that we do it.
All right. Now, the other side of it. What are conversations like, Kwesi, with agents when negotiations get hot? Like, how do you stay calm?
I think I'm personally, when I'm on the phone, I'm from that world, and I know the person on the other end just trying to advocate for their client. And I always try and treat it like that. And it's not personal. They're not mad at me. They're just trying to ask for what's right for their client. And I'm trying to do what's right for the Vikings and their client, both. That's kind of, and in some sense, I'm a bit of a middleman. Rob is a great rapport with all these agents. He's got relationships with them. He knows, kind of how to manage that. And, sometimes the big bad bear might have to come out from Rob, and he does that, but he's got a great way of, kind of softening up and being the great guy that everybody loves to be around after the fact. So it's just really a joint effort, and it's just like all relationship building. It's, it takes work. It takes communication. Sometimes you got to apologize. Sometimes you got to, point things out that weren't to the level. But ultimately, it's really just an understanding of we're trying to, I think contract negotiations, just trying to find solutions for two people. I try to never take anything else personally.
Hey, with your press conference last week when I was listening to it, I was wondering, do you prefer questions that you kind of know are coming and have thought out, or the wild cards, causing you to process and respond quickly?
I like the wild cards that are about things I love, like, football, team building, players, talking about players that we've gotten and how to, those things get me excited. And I love when kind of wild card questions like that. But I will say I get unbelievably great, just preparation from Sam Newton and Jeff Anderson. So they prepare me a lot for what you guys might say to me. I as a personal thing, I'm really not on social media, so I don't know what people are talking about. So they're my eyes and ears, and they kind of help me with a lot of those things. So I am extremely prepared up there, but I do like sometimes the wild card question just to think on your feet and, be transparent and truthful up there. Ultimately, I think all of us would love to be up there saying exactly what we think if we were in the barbershop chair. But we can't. Sometimes that things could get misconstrued or taken out of context, and you don't want to be a negative impact on your organization. But sometimes those questions are great to reveal a little bit of truth about yourself that you might not even have known until you said those words.
Hey, Kwesi, tell the crowd about Tyler Williams. All right, so he's the certified athletic trainer and the leader of the sports performance staff. He and his staff, and the reason I bring it up is quietly, Tyler and his staff had some MVP to them last year, patching together late in the season those who had nagging stuff. It's Tyler and his staff are really good, aren't they?
Incredible. And it's not just the patching at the end of the year. It's really the plan, the thoughtful and intentional plan they put together. It starts in April. When we get these guys, when we assign these guys, you talk about the process of the names that we end up signing. They do work for us before we do free agency. And if there's guys that, maybe have, injury histories or whatever, they already start the planning for what they might, do for us to get the best outcome for them. They've done some really cool analysis on Aaron Jones and his running gait in different ways that they might help him to avoid some of the hamstring injuries. That started before, right at the time when we were thinking about signing him. So it's just really being, the collaboration starts from there, and that's one of the benefits of it. And Tyler's team is just, they do an awesome job. We talk about him a lot, and it's all deserved. He's one of our bright stars. If
it's important, or if you are so inclined to add a veteran quarterback, it's with said veteran backup. You mentioned something about being cognizant of comp picks during your press conference. What does that mean?
Yep. So, not to get too into the compensatory pick formula, but it's about how many players you bring in and lose above a certain salary. And so, while everybody lauds you for having Sam, get a great opportunity elsewhere and Daniel choosing to go elsewhere and you get picks for them, the only way you get picks for them is not signing the replacement because, the backup quarterback market is a market that, could cost, a certain amount of money to replace. So it's really just being mindful of that and thinking about those options versus the trade market versus options that could be available after the draft. It's just thinking through how good is this option relative to this other option and just going from there and knowing that this other option might cost us the comp pick. So it's this player minus a 6th-round comp pick versus this player. And really, that's just the conversation we have, that everything we do is an opportunity cost for something you do and might not be able to do in the future.
Is it important to have a third quarterback here during organized team activities?
I don't know that it's that urgent then in terms of reps and different things like that, but I do think it's, obviously sooner is always better to just be able to get to your room going and kind of get their process going. It's a room with an organization with a dynamic that matters kind of differently than other rooms, and so getting that started early is beneficial. But from an actual true reps, getting through practice, OTAs thing, it's not as urgent.
A couple of minutes and time for a few more for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, general manager for the Minnesota Vikings. And as a general manager, Kwesi, what are key things general managers do during a week designed for the owners?
I can't speak for my other guys. A lot of us, they do media. They meet with their local beat writers just to get some FaceTime with them and talk through things. We sit in those meetings. We talk about the league. We meet with agents. A lot of them do get time with their families. I know it's, the NFL calendar is a bear, and our families are the people that sacrifice the most often. And so this is a reward for them. It's cool to see, the partners and the children, they become their own community over the years. And so they get time for that. And, we talk a little business from time to time, and I'm sure, people are sneaking away and watching film when they can. It's it's the job. It's all encompassing. It's one of the best things I've ever had the fortune of doing. It's challenging, but we love to do it.
And with Ryan Kelly and Will Fries, when totally up to speed, what do you know you like with those two guys?
We talk a lot about play style in terms of how we want our O-line to play, and you can see it on the tape right away. There's a physicality, a latchiness that O-line play with that you like. They stay connected on their blocks in the run game and pass game. They also both have some mistake eraser to them. We call it adult in the room. Who's the adult in the room? And, Ryan Kelly, from a center standpoint, can make people right. His ability to slide and pass protection and just obviously from the neck up, knowing where things are coming, his ability to make us right in a lot of ways. And then Will Fries was somebody that was just arrow up every year, continuing to get better. When we saw him early in this year, we were incredibly impressed with where he was going, just really worked on his body from coming out into what he is now. A thick presence inside, really good awareness and instincts in pass protection in the run game. They run a lot of duo inside zones, so you could see him get low, connect on blocks. It translates to a lot of stuff we're going to do. So we're really just excited. And then you talk about from a culture standpoint, that room is another room that's important to the foundation of your team. From a work ethic, from a joy, process standpoint, toughness, they bring it all. We're excited to have them. I saw Chris Ballard the other day and, kind of just joked with him about it. But, we're excited to get them both here.
Lastly, what do you expect from Mekhi Blackmon when you get him back? And I ask because getting robbed of a year so early in a career, I mean, that might scare somebody right into a 4.340, if you know what I mean.
We're excited to get him back. Mekhi, like all of our players, we just focus on the controllables. He couldn't control what happened to him that year, but he can control, how he approaches his rehab. How do you make yourself better from body movement, flexibility standpoint to limit yourself in injuries, but also to get better and try and figure it out. He played a lot of snaps for us his rookie year, and we were excited about the arrow and where it could potentially go, and we're still excited about that. He's going to get out on the grass, and we're going to see, how he's recovered. But we're excited about him, the competition in that room. He's a great person, a great competitor, and we'll see what happens when we get out on the grass.
My man, enjoy your week. Thank you very much for the time, and I'll see you soon, all right?
Yeah, always great talking to you, man.
See you, bud. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He's the GM.
Free agency.